Good evening. It's 4/6/2020. We're going to be looking at a chart of Walmart tonight. It's just a chart I picked out of the blue. I've been following it, Walmart since, 2000, 20 years or better. And we've traded it and owned it several times. So we can see just by looking at this chart that we have an upward trend. See it? And this is going back to 2017. So on this chart, you have to, on any chart, any 2 points that you pick, you have to have 2 points to make a line. So we're going to make a trend line right now. Let's see, we got it on draw. I like to get the candlestick body. I don't like to put it on the shadows. So I'm going to get as close to that candlestick body as possible. And I'm going to come up here and I choose that point right here. Right here. So if you've studied art or if you've done any trading charts, you'll know it takes 2 points to make a line. So here's 1 point, here's 2 points, and our line goes out to infinity. So if we'd have put this point on this chart, if we'd have marked this chart back in 2018, mid-2018, between there and 2017, we know that line goes out into infinity. Your chart will hold that. So day after day, month after month, you pull a certain chart up, you should have your trend line that should already be tracked out. So once we get that 2 lines or 2 points to where we make that trend, now we have our trend. And this is an ascending trend, and the trend can be your friend, whether it's up or down, depending on where you're longing or shorting. But once we get this second point, and we've got that chart going, or this line going out to infinity, once we hit that second point, even though this isn't there, these candlesticks, they'll fill in later. So we've marked our second point, and we can see that once we marked the 2 points, it was a successful trend. And how do we know that? It's because it took off, and every time it came back to this trend line, it might have breached it a little bit, but it always bounced off of it. We can see it go down. Sometimes it would touch it just barely and jump back up. Sometimes it would breach it, maybe 2 or 3%. And then, of course, you can see a breakout right here. So to make it even more interesting is once you have a trend, let's see if we can trade it another way, not just up. And anytime you're trading, know your company, know the fundamentals on your company, your ratios, your margins, your book value, so you know when you're getting a good value. Make sure they have just a solid balance sheet, and that they have something that the people want. And in this case, they have a lot that people want. People are there every day. So I'm looking back here, and I'm looking at this as a support or as a resistance. So I've put my cursor right here, and we can see my dotted cursor line, right? So I'm going to move it. You can see it. See it? Okay. The reason why I'm calling that a resistance, should I say, is I can see it right here. We've challenged that line several times. We came down, and then we challenged it many times, and then we came back, and we finally broke through it, and now we've tested it from this side, and it held. So that'd be a small trend that I would look at as a trader. But I'm not going to use this point back here. What I'm doing is I'm looking for volume now, and I can see on this candlestick right here, beneath it, you can't see it because of this plus and minus sign. But I'll give you a date and you can check it out on your own time. So the date of that candlestick is 11/13/2017. Right? So that's a little over 2 years back. I'm picking that for the sheer amount of volume because I know that the traders had conviction when it got to that point and they pumped all that money into that stock. Then to me, that's a point. Okay? So I'm going to go back here where I was. I'm going to call that a point, and then I'm going to draw my line. I like to touch that candlestick, and I'm going to put it right there. Now, I not only have an ascending trend line, I have a channel. So I have a support or a floor, and I have a resistance or a ceiling. That's some of the terminology that you'll use while charting. And I promise that I plan to get to a lot more charting facts that'll help you over time if you watch the channel. So now we've got two lines. So we can see right here, we've got this line and this line right here. So technically you would have drawn that first, and then all these lines would have come in, and the second line you would have drawn would have been right here. So what does a channel do for you as a trader? Well, a channel does a lot for you, especially if you got a strong company, and it can be a strong economy or it could be a weak economy. And you especially want to know the fundamentals in a weak economy, so you'll know when you hit low spots on your charts that company is going to come back. It's going to be a survivor in any economic situation. So now I've got my two marks here, 1 and 2, and I've got 1 and 2 right here, and this one was because of volume. Now I not only have a trend, and it's an upward channel on this lower trend line, I've got an upper trend line, and I've formed a channel. So how does the channel help you trade? Well, now we can see that once we've got our lines drawn, that as long as the news stays good, the company's strong, the earnings are good, they're able to pay out some dividends or reinvest in the company, they're keeping a strong balance sheet, we can see that when it comes down, we could have bought right here, we could have sold right here, and we could have bought right here, and we could have sold right here, and then we could have shorted it. You might have freaked out right here, but ultimately we came back down to that line, and we've bounced off of it, off the resistance of the ceiling, and we've hit the floor. We've breached it a couple of times here and here, and now we're ultimately breaking out. So if you've got a strong stock, the reason why you you keep up with the fundamentals and what's going on with the company, because if you come across one of these points right here and it breaches, let's say it's 5 or 6% below that trend line you had already formed, if your company's doing good, then you would still want to make that purchase down here, right? And then you can write it up, nothing's changing. And then when it comes down here, now look, we just had this crash right here, but we still stayed within that channel. All these companies broke down. There's a lot of companies out there that's down 30, 45, 50%. Some of them are even worse than that if you're looking at the oil patch. But we can see that this company right here, even though they're so strong, when this collapse that we're in right now, they stayed within this channel. They stayed above that trend line, and not only did they stay above it, we went in and we tested that resistance right here. Can you see that? Let me bring this in just a little bit. Ooh, wrong way. Let's make it big. We can see, let's put a marker on this. On March 24th, that's when most of the havoc started. We can see that when the stock market fell, this stock, Walmart, held that channel. And we stayed in that channel when everything, when we were going through the dead cat bounces and everything, it's staying up. There was a battle right here. It's called a doji, because we actually hit the resistance and we hit the support, and we stayed in that channel. And then the strength of that stock, and the trader said enough, and we busted out and went right here. So now we can see we have a bullish sign right here. We have broken, now we broke out of it over here too, right? We have broken out of that channel right here today. That's the present, 4/6/2020. The only thing that concerns me about this breakout is this low amount of volume down here. Now these are weekly charts, so they've still got a few days to make that candlestick grow, right? But some things I like about this stock, and I'm not telling you to trade it. I do not give financial advice. I'm just a chartist, and I'm showing you what I look at. We can see down here, these D's, well, they're paying us to hold that stock. And in the most climatic moments of this market, they held what we had marked out or charted out back in the past. So Walmart's a strong looking chart. Strong looking chart. And like I said, this goes back 3 years. And even though We've had some extreme trading. Then we can see that we held. That's a strong hold right there. And the traders battled back. They're looking at this as a, well, it's a stock that pays you as you wait, right? It's got a dividend. They're strong. And people are using the product. So thank you for watching. I hope this was informative for you. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If there's a stock that you're interested in seeing a chart on, then put it in the comments. If I can get to it, I most certainly will. Thank you again. Hope everybody stays healthy, and I hope everybody stays employed. Y'all have a good evening.